It's Sunday, May 7th, 2023. Time for another Fireside chat with Dizzy and the fuzzy little puppy dog. Callie, can you say hi to everybody? Nope, she's going to ignore you all. And as you can see, I'm definitely back from Kentucky. I'd hoped to do a fireside chat when I was in Kentucky, but the weather wasn't good for it. It was kind of cold. We did have fires in the house, but Mom H doesn't have a nice pretty door on her wood stove, so I couldn't shoot a video showing the flames, and it was just too cold to do one outside, so I decided I'd just wait a week. Let's see, I had planned on washing the Jeep, having it all cleaned up and vacuumed out before I left for Kentucky. That didn't happen. It rained the day before. We got, I forget how much rain, but we got quite a bit of rain. I had been able to clean the field in the morning before I left, which was nice. And the only problem is my mower wouldn't start, so I had to borrow somebody's mower. I need to get a battery for it. I'll be doing that tomorrow. I was going to clean the field today, and then I remembered that I need a battery. I had tried to jump it with no luck, so I was also going to have the house pretty much all cleaned up, the dishes all done, laundry all folded and put away, and shirts ironed. Well, I got most of the laundry done. It's going to have, like I said, the house all cleaned up. And I spent so much time working on the yard and the garden because they had to get done before I left that I just didn't have time to do the house. I had planned to leave at like 6 o'clock in the morning. That didn't happen. I didn't even have anything packed up or anything. I was going to do some work in the morning, and I finally said forget it. I'm just going to have to go with dirty dishes and forget about it. So that's what I did. And of course the dirty dishes were still waiting for me when I got home. It was not very warm here while I was gone either. In fact, when I walked in my house yesterday, it was 57 degrees in my house. So if I had had wood in the house, I would have been making a fire, but I didn't have any wood in the house, and I didn't feel like bringing any in. I was beat, which I'll be getting to that in a little bit. Kentucky trip. Drive down there was without incident. Mom H had a meeting that she had to go to, so I stopped on the way to there and got a burger. They don't have Hardee's around here. They used to when I was a kid. They don't any longer. And I always liked them better than Mickey D's. I can't tell you how happy I was that they had a Hardee's down there. Because I was able to get a burger a couple different days, and it was so good. So that's one thing I'll be happy about when I move. If I get any fast food, I don't normally eat it. But I had a list of a few different properties to look at, both from the realtor and also from some that I had looked and found online. Well, we went looking. Some of the properties we basically gave up. We could not find them. And quite truthfully, with the roads that they were on, I'm looking at the roads and asking myself, do I really want to drive along this road pulling a horse trailer? They were very narrow, windy, and hilly, and I just did not feel comfortable with the idea of pulling a horse trailer on them. Well, on Tuesday, Mom H's neighbor called her up. He had the farrier at his house. It was an Amish guy, and he was supposed to come on Thursday to do Mom H's horses, but since he was right there, called to see if it was okay for him to come over and do hers. So, of course, she said yes, and came over and asked him if he knew of any land that was for sale. And he did, possibly. It is not up for sale. but it's on the same road. Mom H and I parked at the end of her driveway and walked to this land. At first, I didn't think it was going to be any good because it just didn't look to be a big enough cleared area for me to do what I wanted to do. It seemed like the best cleared area. Got to add some wood to the fire. Was under some electric lines. And that would have been no good for building a house or a barn. Be good for grazing, maybe having it for a hay field, but that would be it. It was a small house and it had been trashed. Don't know if it's any good or not. And there was another property that was, guy had died and nobody was on it, so we ducked under a fence and looked at that property. There was so much trash in the one area. It's like, no way, I don't want to deal with all this. And it didn't really have a good spot for doing anything. So we decided we were going to go back and take one last look. Well, climbed up. Mom H couldn't join me because she's not as agile as I am. And I climbed up this hillside. Long and narrow, clear. I mean, that made all the difference. And I followed it all the way down, and there's actually a dirt road that came down right next to the little house. I am going to be trying to get that land. I don't know if I'm going to have any luck or not. We were not able to get a phone number for the owner, but we went to they call it the PVA office. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm assuming it's a tax office of some sort. We're able to get the name and address of the owner. I am going to be writing to the owner and see whether or not they'd be willing to sell it to me. It would be ideal for a couple of reasons. One, there's basically just enough cleared land for me to do what I want to do. I don't need a lot of cleared land, basically just enough for my animals. I want to raise some goats. It would be perfect for the goats because the goats could free range, which would cut down a lot on the feed. Have enough grazing for the horses and possibly even be able to grow my own hay. Be able to have, of course, chickens there. And if I want to build something, if that little house, if I can get it, if the little house is fixable, at least it would give me a place to stay while my house is being built. And I could possibly rent that out or just do whatever with it. So that is something that I'd appreciate if you'd all pray about, because I am trying to find God's will for my life. I don't want to do anything that's not His will. And if He closes this door, then I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Well, Friday morning comes around and left a little bit later than I wanted to, but I wasn't overly concerned because it's getting dark later, and I figured that might even be better because then hopefully I wouldn't be hitting rush hour traffic going through more congested areas. I was about 2 hours and 20 minutes from Mom H's house, and had a guy driving a truck, pulling a camping trailer, pull out in front of me. I had to slam on my brakes because I don't think he really realized how long he was. And if I hadn't hit the brakes, I would have hit him. He goes up just a little bit and pulls in front of a tractor trailer. There was another big truck, whether it was just a big dump truck or another tractor trailer, I don't know. Well, I was in the tractor trailer's blind spot. And all of a sudden I realized he's coming over in my lane. Of course, I blew the horn, and thank God I was next to a shoulder of the road because I went onto the shoulder. He took off my mirror, broke the hinge for the door, and scraped up the side. He did stop, but with waiting for the cops and everything, it was like a 2-hour delay. They did tell me that there was a cheap Jeep dealer if I turned around and went the other way, which I did. And I was hoping that I could maybe get a mirror because I didn't really want to drive that far without any mirror. I also wanted him to just take a look at the Jeep and make sure it was safe. No mirror, and it was safe. So I get back on the road, get up just a little bit. There was another accident, and it was worse than mine. The road was completely blocked off. We sat for like an hour. I cannot even begin to tell you how nervous I was driving from Kentucky to New Jersey without that mirror. Almost had another accident because of not having the mirror. Thank God that I didn't. I just hope and pray that I didn't cause an accident because of it. I got as far as Lancaster. It was around 9 o'clock. I found a hotel and spent the night. Yeah, I could have made it home. I was only about an hour and a half from home. But, A, it would have gotten me home around 11 o'clock. B, it would have had me going over the Delaware Memorial at night with no mirror on that side with them doing construction. And I didn't want to face it. Made it home the next morning about 8 o'clock. I did not get hardly anything done yesterday. I was just too tired. So, I didn't even come out and see my horses. I did do a little bit in the garden, but that was it. Well, I was able to go and get all my garden stuff from my daughter today. I'll be talking about that. Eggs, I hadn't been sure that they were developing the incubator. Well, they have been. Only problem is my broodie's changed her mind. And did get the rope down for licorices to be penned in, so she's out with Misty now. And that's about it for me for this week. So just keep that in prayer, and I will keep you posted. I'll be getting the letter written and mailed out this week. Not sure exactly what day because I've got to do some work to even be able to get my laptop out. So I hope everybody's having a nice day, and I will talk at you later.